Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. Here I am crowned in my rays of sunshine. It's a powerful image, is it not? Today, as we look at the Bhagavad Gita and its guidance for helping you to find the courage to be who you truly are, day after day, month after month, year after year, I am especially going to focus on the idea of power. And this was inspired because last night our power went out, or in the States, our electricity, we call that power. But our power went out for a good amount of time. And I thought, I might not be able to do this program this morning, but the power came back on. So power has been on my mind. I'm skipping a little ahead in the Bhagavad Gita from where we were, which is the chapter about death, chapter 8, to a chapter that speaks about power and our perception thereof. So as a brief recap, the Bhagavad Gita in all its forms, so here's some of the forms. I put it in with my translations. It centers around Arjun, a great and mighty prince, a skilled warrior, a ruler, a joint ruler of a kingdom, and his cousin Krishna, who's his best friend. And Krishna is also a prince, so Arjun is he treats him very much like an equal. And then we get to chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita. Whoa, hello, can you even see there? Where Krishna reveals his true glory. He takes off all his masks and disguises, and Krishna in the Gita does represent our soul, our true self with an S, however you want to call it, our real being that we hide not only from others, but from ourselves. So here I'm going to be looking at verses 11, 41, and 42, which are in a different rhythm than most of the other verses we chant. So you can listen, or if you know that rhythm, you can join in with the poetic version found in any of the 3 Song of Your Soul books. Let's see how low I can get. I bow to the power of the sun. So in chapter 11, Arjun says, please, Krishna, let me see you as you really are. And Krishna says, you ready? And Arjun says, of course. And Krishna says, ta-da, here I am. And Arjun is stunned by the magnificence. And here he is reeling in verse 41. He says to Krishna, whatever I said, audaciously thinking of you as a friend, from negligence or from affection, calling you, hey Krishna, cousin or friend, in ignorance of this your greatness. And if in jest I was insulting to you, while playing, while resting, sitting, or eating, alone or in public, infallible one, I beg your forgiveness for all that, Krishna. So Arjun, who represents us in our limited embodied form, has been acting toward Krishna according to how he perceived him in terms of power. He saw him as an equal, so he treated him as an equal. And now he realizes, oh, crow, you're not my equal in any way. And I apologize. And we see this, in cinema. This kind of interaction is immortalized, even in literature, how we treat somebody who's a prince in disguise. I'm thinking of you, Hallmark movies, is treated one way by people. And then when the true identity is revealed, they're treated a totally different way. And how people are basically always seeking to just get treated for who they as who they genuinely are. And even Krishna, that's one of the reasons he values Arjun's friendship so much, is Arjun is just genuine with him. But now Arjun goes, Krishna, you're so powerful. You are full of light. You are the wheel upon which the whole universe turns. Whoops! Sorry if I offended you in any way, you smiter of foes, you. And Krishna does go on to reassure him, but it really caused me to reflect today, with the power going out, of how do we treat people in regards to our perception of their power? Because according to the Gita, everybody is equally powerful. And that's really hard for most of us to wrap our head around, especially if we're part of a hierarchical group like a martial arts dojo, extremely hierarchical. Sometimes a yoga tradition, very hierarchical. But the idea is, if we could see people's true glory, the true glory, then we just might treat them differently. I'm dedicating today's practice to all wait staff and servers who are in an interesting position relative to the people they serve. And I've always heard that one way you can tell the true character of someone is how they treat wait staff. And more power to them. I mean, the work they do and the people skills they have to develop, it just beyond me sometimes. I'm just going to say it's beyond me. So kudos. And it also makes me think of things like, sometimes I'll say the arrogance, I don't know, that might be too harsh a word, of humans. In the Bible, it said that God created humans in their own image. But really, it's the other way around. We've created God in our own image. I'm sure you've seen cartoons or heard references to, dogs perceive God as a dog and cats perceive themselves as God. Okay. So here we've got this perception, and, for the tradition I was raised in, when you leave this earthly body, you get to meet God. Actually, St. Peter first, and he says, oh, you can meet God or not. But, God is often portrayed as this old dude with a beard, the Father. And I think, what happens if we die and God turns out to be a lab rat? There are going to be some people in real trouble, or an ant, or something we perceive as with much less power than us, that we've treated badly. And, we're probably going to be just like Arjun. I am so, so sorry. We can live life in a way that we won't have to apologize. I invite you today, we'll do our pose first to center the mind, but then when we do our contemplation, I invite you to reflect upon how you treat people differently, perhaps, based on your perception of how much power they have. Could be interesting. So you're in control of the pose. I'm suggesting a balanced pose. You can pick any pose you want. You have that power, or any way of doing the pose. That's not up to me. It's you. Here we go. Once again, I am taller than I think. There. Switch sides. Okay, time for our 5-minute contemplation. Contemplate however you want. I sit, although my knee today is probably not so happy with that. But you can lie down, stand up, headstand, contemplate how you do treat those around you based on your perception of the power they have. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is over. Come on back. Come on back. I had the realization as I was setting up for this that I think a pileated woodpecker must be God, because he's always banging his head against one. Man. And he's just laughing at everything. Oh, look what's going on in the world. Ha ha ha. So can you make sure Josh Naylor stays healthy, pileated woodpecker? May you embrace the power within you and the power around you. We're going to talk more about Gita and your life, hopefully tomorrow. Until then.